Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here, back at it again with another set of D&D stories. I'm actually quite intrigued today by the set of stories that we have because we're going to be exploring the most damaging things that you've done to your own character in the name of roleplay or to avoid metagaming. I was reading the post about allowing strangers online to roll real die instead of online rolling, along with all of the admonitions about the temptation to cheat. That reminded me of this story. The setting. The final boss fight against Aasimar in the Tomb of Annihilation. My character is a tabaxi rogue with a ring of jumping and 23 strength, one of the abilities provided by the module. The fight started with my character well out of range. I dashed towards the lich and then ended my turn hidden around a corner so I could not be targeted by spells. On the lich's turn, he created a wall of force that effectively put me and half of the group out of reach of the lich. The DM intended to divide and conquer. While each player did their turn trying to either attack the lich or get around the wall, I was faced with a different dilemma. My character was around a corner and would have no way of knowing about the wall of force. I knew this could not end well. So on my turn, my rogue leapt out at the lich with the intent of delivering a devastating bonus action attack. Of course, he predictably splatted against the wall of force and fell into the lava, taking a shit ton of damage before scrambling out. On Discord, the silence of the group was pretty loudly asking me, "What the fuck did you do that for?" It was what my character would do, was really all I could say. Hey, props to you for not metagaming. The entrance to the Tomb of Horrors. I've played the adventure before, the rest of the party hadn't. We were playing as a funhouse one-shot between characters. The DM describes the end of the first hallway. There's a stone face carved on the wall, its mouth big enough to swallow a person. The mouth of the stone demon face is pitch black, blacker than night, blacker than the void between stars. "Someone could be watching us from in there," says the druid. "Sure, could be," says I. "We could bum rush them, get the drop on them." "Yeah, I suppose we could." "I have a spell that can make us move like the wind. We can all rush in at once." "That's a solid plan. I can't reasonably object to it." "Okay, let's do it." And that's the story of how we dove into a sphere of annihilation at 35 miles an hour. My character killed herself. What a way to start a story. Her whole journey was trying to get back to her hometown, to see her husband and children again. To do so, she had fought through endless foes, challenged demon princes, and been a hero to 3 different kingdoms as the shining beacon as a paladin of devotion. She inspired an entire knightly order into forming. The group was finally able to bring the character to her homeland, and the DM set up the next plot by having the murdered bodies of my character's children and husband scattered. A revival spell was attempted and failed. So my paladin dug graves for all of them and one extra, not talking to the rest of the party or answering their questions, ignoring when some of them left to investigate. With her family members buried, she turned to her best friend in the party and asked her to take care of the group. And then she drove her holy blade into her own heart so she could finally take her long-deserved rest at home with her family. We were playing a heavily modified Curse of Strahd. My character was a lawful evil swords bard who was the only one in the party with Identify. Our paladin used a wish she had been holding on to purify an ancient fortress whose restless spirits were in agony. This selfless act prompted our DM to award the paladin with the Book of Exalted Deeds. Now, I DM myself, so I was aware of what this item was, but in character, none of us understood why this book suddenly appeared. I told the DM I'd ritual cast Identify, and over the course of that time, made the roleplay decision to flip through its pages. He asked me, "You're reading it? Are you sure?" to which I hesitantly said yes, not quite remembering why that would be a bad thing. He then tells me that any evil creature that attempts to read from these pages suffers 24d6 radiant damage that cannot be prevented in any way. Oof. Okay, it won't kill me outright, just drop me to 0. He then continues, a creature brought to 0 hit points by this damage is instantly and wholly destroyed. That's the part I forgot in the item stat block. It was great. Weeks prior to this event, I made a real-life prop of a will my character wrote detailing what I would like done in the event of my death, given how dangerous this realm was. Had the party cleric read it, was one of the most memorable sessions I've been in. I hope you gave everybody a boot to the head. Call of Cthulhu rather than D&D, but I think it fits very well. Hey, we welcome all TTRPGs on this channel. 3-person party of a waitress, my teenage criminal, and a mentally disturbed firefighter seeking his dead sister's ghost. They've recently recovered a book of probably not so good magic, and the firefighter has his nose buried in it. He eventually thinks he's got a handle on a spell that will let him commune with his dead sister. He just needs a vessel for her to step into, temporarily of course, and he opts to use my PC, but doesn't tell him anything and just offers him a drink and suggests he takes a nap. Both of them are exhausted, and my PC knows he's acting weird, but not the exact circumstances of why or what his plan is. My PC is also cocky and arrogant, and decides he'll just drink the firefighter under the table and be done with it. Now, out of character, I know this is likely to end in my PC passing out first and his death, or at least some sort of insanity. We drink, we stare at each other, we do the equivalent of a constitution roll, and of course my PC loses. He passes out, the other PC goes into his ritual. It, predictably because it's Call of Cthulhu, goes horribly wrong. Another entity intercepts the ritual, my PC's soul is erased from existence as that entity possesses my body, the firefighter dies as the magic sucks all the heat from his body, kind of ironic, and the poor waitress is forced to shoot my PC's possessed corpse in the head when it rises up and starts talking with an otherworldly voice. Then, she has to drag both bodies down to her basement and bury them. End result, 2 dead PCs, 1 nearly insane PC, 3 players and a DM who had a hell of a lot of fun. My PC, William Norcott, a bard with dwarfism, had previously made a secret copy of an eldritch invocation before the original was destroyed by the party. He then proceeded to learn it by heart and destroyed his copy. Later in the campaign, the entire party was at the mercy of a powerful sea hag. William negotiated the freedom of his allies and in exchange for a copy of this incantation. He gave the first half and his allies were allowed to leave. After some time passed, he uttered his final words. Giants, dragons, krakens. But in the end, it's the little things that get you. While he then slit his throat to take the secret to his grave. The table was silent, and someone cried. That is a hell of a way to take a secret all the way down 6 feet under. I was in a party that was fighting a shambling mound, and we had worn it down significantly. Our Tempest cleric goes to do a ton of lightning damage to finish it off. Now, of course, I know that lightning damage would heal a shambling mound, but my character, a fledgling necromancer who has never seen one of these before, had no idea. So I sat there as she healed it by accident. Whoops. Still a fun encounter, and one of my favorite D&D moments. A few weeks ago, my character Mira sprinted alone into flames to rescue restrained slaves on a burning pirate ship. She was a former slave herself, and she's not willing to watch innocents die in captivity. Mira's a tiefling, so she lasted longer than anyone else would have, but she still died to the flames while picking the shackle locks. Thankfully, help arrived mere seconds later, and she was pulled out and revivified, albeit with some nasty burn scars to mark the tale. We only managed to save 3 of the over half a dozen that were on that ship, but she would do it again. Hey, a post for me. Hey, look, it's a post for you. I played a street rat rogue in a COS game ran by Mandymod. Now, very early on, I made it clear my guy was illiterate, and for most of the game it didn't come up, aside from a few casual jokes. That is until the party sent him to scout ahead, and he found a covered wagon in the woods. DM described how it had a sign on the back with the words "keep out" on it, but hey, I can't read. So my thief opts to ignore the scribble and tries to break into the wagon, which explodes. It wasn't actually that bad for him. He was left with about 20 HP. But our warlock, who had followed to make sure everything was alright, it came out about 2 points of damage away from insta-killing her, as she had a vulnerability to fire. Whoops. It did burn off my rogue's eyebrows and his fabulous mohawk, though. Left him mostly deaf for a session or so, too, which was good fun. Good times. I died. The end. No, I'm kidding. My aasimar was flying above a fight, casting spells, while the rest of the party and an NPC ally were fond of what was fighting below. For some context, my aasimar wasn't a very heroic dude. He was pretty selfish and convinced of his inherent superiority because of the holy blood flowing through him. He was slowly working his way towards being a true hero over the course of the campaign as he bonded with the generically heroic party and ally NPC. We were fighting some fiends that were pouring out of a hole to hell that had been torn open by an enemy caster. My guy was approaching the end of his flight time from his aasimar form when our ally got grabbed by an enemy and thrown into the hole. After a second of thinking, he dive-bombed after her and grabbed onto her. Next round, he flew up, carrying her as far as possible, then threw her onto the ledge as his wing form faded out. As he started to fall, he took one last look at the party and ally NPC and said, "This is a price I pay willingly. Feels kinda nice." He fell into a fiery oblivion with a smile on his face. The session ended shortly after, and I rolled up a new character afterwards. Our DM was very surprised my guy actually sacrificed himself. He figured if the ally died, we would swear revenge and move on to the next portion of the campaign, but not risk ourselves in the process. We had a fun and interesting session, and that's a hell of a character development, my guy. Hey everyone, Brian Von VA here, back at it again, checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, to subscribe, to ring that bell so you can get notified when we post or go live. And of course, if you want to submit a story to us, do so on r/MrRipper. And if you want to check us out live, do so on Twitch. And again, if you want to check out 30 to 60 second videos, you can do so on our TikTok. Links are in the description below. As always, I try to end things on a positive note. Today's no different. I just want to come up with one little thing, okay? One thing. Everybody goes at life in their own pace. Sometimes it takes 10 years to do something, sometimes 20, sometimes 30. Sometimes you might be in your 60s before you even remotely get started doing what you got to do in the world. That is okay. Don't let anyone tell you how fast or slow you got to go. It's more mature and more intelligent to take your time and to do things right. As long as you're going forward and not backward, you're always making progress. So keep at it, keep pushing, and be strong, because you know you are. You just haven't had many people tell you, I'm sure. But I'm telling you damn well that you're strong enough to go out and do whatever the hell you want to do. All the love, be safe, stay hydrated, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.